Good morning. So today what we are going to do is we will discuss the answers for those questions which most of you have made mistakes in the class test. So I have the question paper with you and I hope you can see the whiteboard clearly now. Can you see the whiteboard?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. So let me read out the questions. Only those questions or problems where most of you made mistakes will be discussed.
Teacher,
Yes.
you are too far with here properly.
Okay. 1 second. Okay, if I switch off the AC, the sound will be clear. Now is it clear?
Yeah, now it's clear.
Yes, teacher. Okay. So, question number 1C. There is a figure given. I'll draw the figure here. There were resistances 2 ohm. Then there was a parallel connection here 3 ohm and 4 ohm. And then it was connected to another 5 ohm. And there was an ammeter here. And it was mentioned that range of the ammeter is maximum range is 1.2 ampere, and also the internal resistance of the ammeter is 0.1 ohm, and this is connected to a battery and a key, and the battery is showing a voltage of 6 volts. So this is the figure given, and question C was to find the current through 5 ohm resistance. So what is the current flowing through 5 ohm resistance? Current through 5 ohm. This is the question. Now here, many of you have done just you have calculated using Ohm's law. I is equal to V by R, and you have taken V as 6 volt and directly taken 5 ohms as the resistance. You can do that only if the circuit contained only 5 ohm resistance, because there are many other resistances in the circuit. You cannot directly use Ohm's law. What you have to do is you have to do the effective resistance of the whole circuit, because a main current will come here, I. It will flow through 2 ohm, then it will split into 2 I1 and I2, then it will join back again as I, and it will flow through 5 ohm, the ammeter, and get back. So you cannot directly use Ohm's law only for the 5 ohm resistance. You have to consider the whole circuit. So the first step is you will have to find the effective resistance of this circuit. So how to find the effective resistance? You have these two resistances in parallel, right? So 1 by Rp will be equal to 1 by 3 plus 1 by 4, which is equal to 4 plus 3 is 7, divided by 4 times 3 will be 12. So Rp is equal to 12 by 7 ohm. Now this is in series with 2 ohm, 5 ohm, and also there is one internal resistance here. Most of you have neglected this one. So you have to consider this internal resistance also, because it is part of the circuit. The current is flowing through all of them. So the total effective resistance will be equal to this 2 ohm plus this parallel connection which has 12 by 7 plus 5 ohm plus 0.1. So that will be the effective resistance. Is that clear to you? Is this part clear to you?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so when
Yes.
I add all of them, you can use the calculator. You will get a result as equal to 8.8 ohm as the effective resistance. Now we have to find the current through 5 ohm, which is the main current. So we have the effective resistance and the voltage. So current through 5 ohm or the main current will be equal to the voltage divided by the effective resistance, which is equal to 6 divided by 8.8 ohm. Oh, sorry, 8.8 ohm. So this is equal to 6 divided by 8.8. You will get 1.8 amperes. Is this clear to you? So this is how you have
Clear.
to solve that. So if you do this much, you will get 3 marks for this question. Now let us see the D part. The D part of the question is that if the potential difference in the source is 16 volt. So let me rub this. You will require the effective resistance for D part. You will require the effective resistance. So let us remember that it is 8.8 ohm. Now, if the potential difference in the source is 16 volts, so instead of 6 volt, they have now mentioned if it is 16 volt, explain mathematically what measure should be taken to measure the current. Earlier, what did we get as the current? We got the current as, how much did we get? 0.6.
1.8.
Oh, I'm sorry. Current I was equal to how much? 6 volt divided by 8.8, right? That is not equal to 1.8. 6 divided by 8.8 will be equal to 0.68 ampere. I'm sorry if I wrote 1.8. This will be less than 1, right? So it is 0.68.
Yeah.
So,
I thought you wrote that. Right.
Okay. That was a mistake because when I looked into the paper, I wrote an answer for the different one. Okay. So this current can be measured using this ammeter because the range is 1.2 ampere and this current comes within this range. So its value is less than 1.2 ampere. So that ammeter is enough to measure that current. So this is fine. But now when you change the potential to 16 volt, what will be the main current flowing through the ammeter? So when it is 16 volt, in D, the main current will become equal to 16 divided by the effective resistance, which was 8.8. And then you will get the answer as equal to 16 divided by 8.8, you will get it as 1.8 ampere. Okay, so can you measure this current using this ammeter? No. Because the maximum current which we can measure is 1.2 ampere. One of you have written that you have to replace this ammeter with a new ammeter having range 1.8 ampere. That is right, but they have asked what change should be done to this ammeter. You have already learned how we can increase the range of an ammeter. How can we increase the range of an ammeter?
Using shunt.
By adding shunt.
So you have to use a shunt. So this is a 4-mark question. So once you find the current, just to write, replace this ammeter with another one having a higher range cannot score you 4 marks. So here you have to write that you have to use a shunt to increase the range of the ammeter. And what should be the value of shunt? S is equal to, you have learned the formula, R divided by
N by R n minus 1.
n minus 1. What is R?
-1.
Yes, n minus 1. Where R, it is given the internal resistance of the ammeter 0.1. And what is N? N is the new range divided by the old range. New range, you can put any value more than 1.8 ampere. That will be fine. But here, let me put 1.8. Even if you put 2 ampere or 1.9 ampere, it will be fine. But for calculation, let me put here the new range as new range divided by old range. That is the formula, right? So this is equal to 1.8 divided by the old range was 1.2. So this you will get as equal to 1.8 divided by 1.2.
1.5.
1.5. So you have to use these two values. R is equal to 0.1 and N is equal to 1.5 in this equation. So you will get this as equal to 0.1 divided by 1.5 minus 1. And this you will get as 0.2 ohm. So you have to tell that a 0.2 ohm shunt must be connected parallel, because shunt should be connected parallel to the ammeter. Is that clear to you? So the range of the ammeter will increase to 1.8 and you can measure this current. So that is the answer for D part. Is it clear to you now?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. So now let me go to the next question, which was question number 2D. Can I rub this? Okay. So
Yes, teacher. You may rub.
now question number 2D. In question number 2, a Wheaton's bridge is given. That question number 1, the previous question which we discussed, that was in your HSC board examination for 2019, the last board exam question paper. I took that question from there. So you have a galvanometer here and they have shown the resistances P, Q, R, S, and they have also given in the question that P is equal to 8 ohm, Q is equal to 12 ohm, then R is equal to 18 ohm, and S is 22 ohm. And this is connected to a battery which has an EMF is equal to 12 volt. So this is the given figure, and in C part the question is in the fourth arm how much resistance is to be connected and how it should be connected to obtain equilibrium. Most of you have done it correctly. You use the Wheaton's principle. P by Q is equal to R by S, found the value of S, and you got it as 27, and you identified that a 5 ohm resistance is to be connected. But some of you didn't mention that the 5 ohm resistance should be connected in series. So only if you say that it should be connected in series, you will get the full marks. Now, let us go to question number D, which most of you haven't done. The question is, if the galvanometer is disconnected, then will the current through, they have mentioned here A, B, C, D. Will the current through A, B, C and the current through B, D, C equal? or not? Justify. That was the question, right? So what you have to do in the first case is you will have to redraw this diagram without the galvanometer. So let me show you how this diagram will look without the galvanometer. So without the galvanometer, if I draw this diagram, it will be like there is no galvanometer. So the current coming here will go from here to here. Suppose I is the current coming here. It splits into I1 and I2. And then this will go as I3. And some current may go through the galvanometer and some will go as I4, right? This will be the case. Now suppose there is no galvanometer. So this current I1 will go through P and Q, or P and Q will act as two series resistance in the absence of galvanometer. So in the absence of galvanometer, it will act as P and Q, nothing connecting between them. P and Q will act as two series resistance. And also R and S. Whatever current comes through R, there is no way up. So it will go completely through S. So R and S will act as a series resistance in the absence of a galvanometer. So I can write R, S. And they will be connected to this cell or battery having EMF 12 volt. So this will be the form of the circuit if there is no galvanometer in between. Do you have any doubt here? Why I drew like this? No one is answering. Is this clear how I draw the same circuit without the galvanometer?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. So here we know the main current will come here and it will split as I1 and I2 and then join here. Our question is whether the current I1 and I2 will be same or not. So it's question number D, which carries 4 marks. So we have to calculate the current I1 and I2. I will need more space, so let me rub this figure, which is in the question. Okay, all the quantities which are given in this, I have carried over here. Only there is absence of the galvanometer. So this is the circuit. Now, how will we directly find I1 and I2? There are two ways. Either you can use the Kirchhoff's law, which is a lengthy way, or you have a shortcut which we did in a previous problem when we solved. We use the equation. Let me consider P plus Q as the resistance here. So what is the resistance here? Let me put here R1 as equal to P plus Q, because now they are in series, right? So R1 I will put as equal to 8 plus 12. How much is that? 20.
20.
Let me put this resistance as R2, which is equal to R plus S, because they are in series now. 18 plus 22 will give you 40. So you have R1 and R2, 20 and 40 here. One of the method is to find I1. You have to find I, the total current. I1 will be equal to R2 divided by R1 plus R2 into main current I. Do you remember from where I got this equation? Do you remember? We used this previously in solving one of the problems. You remember when we discussed about a galvanometer and a shunt connected in parallel, I current is coming here, current through the galvanometer is Ig, and current through the shunt resistance is IS, and we derive that current through the galvanometer IG is equal to S divided by G plus S into I. See here, it's a similar situation. So I don't want to derive this again here, but you always remember this formula. It can save you a lot of time. If you are using a lot of times Kirchhoff's law, it will be a tedious task. So always remember, when the current split into two parts parallel like this, current in one will be the other resistance divided by the total R2 by R1 plus R2 into main current. So you have to remember this concept. That will save you time. Okay. So I'm using that concept here. And for that I need I, the main current. So to find main current, I can consider these two as parallel. So the total effective resistance of the circuit will be equal to 1 by R effective will be equal to 1 by 20 plus 1 by 40, because R1 and R2 are parallel. So this is equal to 40 plus 20, which is 60, divided by 40 times 20. What is that? 800. So this is equal to 3 by 4. Then 3 by 40. Is this correct? I can't hear any response from you. Is it clear to you what I'm doing?
Yes, teacher, clear.
Okay. So, okay, 60 by 800. Let me check how much I got it while doing. So 3 by 40, or R effective is equal to 40 divided by 3, and I got it as equal to 13.33 ohms. That is the effective resistance of the circuit now. So the current I will be equal to, the main current will be equal to the EMF divided by the effective resistance. So EMF is 12 volts. So 12 divided by the resistance, that is 13.33, which is equal to 0.9 amperes. So this is the main current flowing through the circuit. Now we can use in this formula. So I1 is equal to R2 divided by R1 plus R2 into I, which is equal to R2 is this. So 40. 40 divided by 40 plus 20, which is 60, into 0.9. And I got it as equal to 0.67 amperes. Now you got I1. There is an easy way to find I2. What is that? I2 is equal to?
I minus I1.
Yeah, you can easily find it as I minus I1 using Kirchhoff's law. That is one way. Or the difficult way also you can do similar formula, R1 divided by R1 plus R2 into I. That way also you can find, or like Muhammad Jaman told, you can write it as I minus I1, which is equal to 0.9 minus 0.67, and you will get the answer as equal to 0.23 ampere. Is I1 and I2 same? Is I1 and I2 same? No. So they are not equal, and it is justified mathematically. Is that clear? How to solve this D part?
Yes, sir, clear.
Okay. So that's all I wanted to discuss with you. Now I'm going to